What happened if Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin lost his majority in Dewan Rakyat? A lot of people refer to the federal constitution to answer this question. It is correct. However, federal constitution must be read together with the framers' intention to understand the exact meaning of each article. In case of the federal constitution, one of the sources of information on the framers' intention that has been translated into the federal constitution is the report of the Federation of Malaya Constitutional Commission 1957, based on Reid Commission. This is the full extract from the report of the Federation of Malaya Constitutional Commission 1957 on what will happen if the Prime Minister lost his majority in Dewan Rakyat. It was written under Chapter 4, Parliament and the Executive, with the heading, Responsibility and Tenure of Office of Ministers and Duration of Parliament. Experience has shown that there are substantial objections to the Prime Minister or government of the day having unrestricted power to insist on a dissolution of Parliament. A Prime Minister may ask for a dissolution in various circumstances, and it is not possible to define the circumstances in which his request ought to be granted. Normally the Yang di-Pertuan Besar would accept the advice of his Prime Minister, but he should not be bound to do so in all cases. He ought in a critical case to be free to decide what is in the best interests of the country. We recommend that if the Prime Minister ceases to command the confidence of the House of Representatives, he must either vacate his office or ask for a dissolution. If the Prime Minister asks for a dissolution and the Yang di-Pertuan Besar refuses his request, then the Prime Minister must vacate his office. It will be open to a Prime Minister who vacates his office to suggest as his successor a member who he thinks will command the confidence of the House, but it will rest with the Yang di-Pertuan Besar to decide whether he should accept this advice. We recommend that new elections should be held within 60 days of dissolution and that the new parliament should be summoned within 90 days after the dissolution. Any dispute as to the result of an election should be determined by the Supreme Court. What we can deduce here is that 1. If Prime Minister Muhyiddin lost his majority, he either resign or request for a dissolution of Parliament from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. 2. If Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin resign, he still can suggest who should become his successor as Prime Minister, but the final decision will rest with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. 3. If Yang di-Pertuan Agong accept the request for the dissolution of Parliament, new election will be held. 4. If Yang di-Pertuan Agong reject the request for the dissolution of Parliament, the Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin must resign. But he still can suggest who should become his successor as Prime Minister, but the final decision will rest with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. This is the 4 scenarios that will happen if Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin lost his majority in Dewan Rakyat.